Desiree, and we are live, I think. Something, you never know. Yes, we are live, and we are crooked, so we're just going to turn that a little bit, just to make you all nuts. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. We are going to continue with the watercolor month. We are still in July, yes, and Christmas in July. So I grabbed some watercolor paper. The watercolor paper I am using is by Meeden. It's not bad. It's a 100% cotton, and it is cold press. Use what you have. Use what you have. Good morning, Kalinda. Good morning, Dama. How are you doing? Good morning, Teresa. Welcome. And then I have these sheets here. Now these are hot press. We're going to be making 5x7 cards today. And these are also by Meeden. I found them, yeah. And these were in my stash, but I did like the way that this design looked around it. So we're going to be using some of those. So we're going to see just how many cards we can make. Good morning, Vicki. How are you? And the stamp sets that I'm going to use, we're going to focus on ornaments. So I'm going to be using my really large tangled Christmas ball ornament because I want to do some things with it. And then we're also going to use the small ones. Yes, they are well loved. So this is called Tangled Ornaments, and this is called, I believe, A Tangled Christmas. Yes, because I didn't put the name on it back then. This is from my first collection that was launched, and then this is from my third. Okay, so I'm a little late coming in. These are my watercolors. I'm using my Mission Golds. Again, use whatever you have. Now these I think are, yeah. So I just need to trim these down. Good morning, Gwen. How are you? I've got my VersaFine ink. Let's do our trimming. I'm just going to cut these in half. Carefully. And then same thing as always, production style. We're just going to do our stamping. And then we'll get into the fun with the watercoloring. May have some annoying sounds because we're going to force them to dry for timing of video and all of that fun stuff. Okay, if you hear that pounding, that's my husband breaking up ice. Okay, so let's get some stamping done. We are not, that is my printer now in the background. So today's just going to be, I think, the day of noises. Yes, absolutely. Let me make sure my phone is on vibrate. You don't need to hear that. Alright, now let's get... I think we're going to be fine if that sits down in the corner for our large one. So how's everyone doing? Cordelia. Okay. Don't hurt anyone, Cordelia. Although I'm going to tell you now, so next Sunday I will not be live. I will not be here. I will be with my sister. Oh. Really need to do a deep clean on the stamps. Yes. I did figure out, we're just going to put that in the center. And I think I'm going to stamp 3 of these. And you know what? I only cut these in half. Let's cut them. Oh, yeah. You know, it's the way it goes. I'm actually going to cut these. If I do 4.5, because this was a big stamp. I love big stamps. Okay. So we need to keep this 4 3/4 because I want to have a border. And 6 3/4. So I think I'll just cut 3 of these down. So yesterday, we were affected by some weather. Yes, some weather. All right, now these I'm going to cut down to, what size is this? So 4 by 5. So these I'm going to cut down to 4 by 6. Now these strips, I keep them because they're good testers for things. And I have clear envelopes that I keep these in, and I have it marked so that I know that it's 100% cotton. Alright, now we have our panels. Now these will probably, yes, they will. We'll have to stamp these a couple times, probably more than that, because it's cold press. And this is like a really sticky mat. To get a lot of the stick off, when I first used it, I couldn't get the cardstock off. It was not pleasant. Yeah, we're going to use this side. And I want that to be straight on. Because it is cold press. So it does have a lot of texture to it. I'm going to use my VersaFine. Crystal, how are you doing? Oh. Kalinda, that is awesome. You're going to do your own designs? She did. She did, Kalinda and Cordelia. It was awesome looking. Yes, she took this stamp and she turned it into Halloween. Because we can do that. We can take any stamp. And look, I absolutely get it. I am not picking on anybody. I am not. So please, listen to what I'm saying here. I do. We get pigeonholed into this idea. You know, a poinsettia has to be red. Um, a poinsettia um, can't take on, you know, other colors. But we can take a poinsettia and make it any color we want for any season. And it's the same thing even with a Christmas ornament. People have Halloween trees. People have Easter trees. And how do I know that? Because that's my sister. So, and plus, if I could keep my Christmas tree up all year and just change it for the seasons, oh yeah, I'm all for it. Yes, because then I don't have to put it away. I'm just saying. So, yeah, all we have to do to change the look of any item in our stash is just change the colors. You know, or what we think those colors are. All right, that's one. Well, maybe the video is just going to be me stamping. And it looked great. Oh my god, it was awesome looking. It was awesome looking. And again, guys, don't forget, I have the community tab up. And I hope I'm not missing anything there. I'm still learning this whole process thing. Very textured. It's not doing too bad. I am so going to wear this. I think this ink pad is like oozing on its own. I'm not quite sure. Do you like that sound effect? Yep. That was me almost dropping the entire paper, the ink pad all over the place. So anyway, have fun with your colors. Have fun with what you think the colors should be. You know, yes, I have colors that I gravitate to for Halloween, for Christmas, but that doesn't mean that's what they have to be. So, yeah, keep that in mind. And it's a lot of fun to see what you can do. So I think I'm going to use this paper, obviously, for the large ornament. And I think I'm going to use, well, I don't know. Let's see what we're going. We're just going to stamp. Stamp. I've been really good not doing CPR. She wants barns on her. Well, that would be great. Yeah, you can put like little tiny wreaths. You can add like little sprigs. be fun. Let's see. You know, that's one thing I was nervous, although, so Cordelia said she has a tree. I love this stuff. It really is good. And with one of these, it really does bring back your stamp. Sound effect. So Max, he's sitting on my chair and snoring away already. If you hear that. It's something he never really bothered with the tree until but he still didn't. So there was one Christmas morning. It's a beautiful morning. It's quiet. Only I was up, having my cup of coffee, rewatching Christmas Vacation because it just makes me giggle. I am going to use these because I did cut them. And these, I'm just going to put one ornament on it from my Christmas ornament trios. So we'll have one of these. So everything was calm. I'm giggling away. And all of a sudden, I see something out of the corner of my eye. Oh, it's just a little, little critter. He scurried across. Now, Max. Yeah. He's a hunter. And my first thought was, oh, the tree's going down. Because what I envisioned was the squirrel in the tree. And I thought we were going to have that moment in the house. Luckily, Max had this poor little guy trapped in our kitchen. He was cornered. And Max was not moving. They named him Harold. He wasn't moving. So I was able, so I'm okay with the little critters. And that's probably because of my college days. We had to, for psychology, we had to work with the bigger critters. So I named mine Peaches. So yeah, they don't bother me. So I was able to get Harold into a container because it was Christmas. And I I was able to let him go on his merry way and enjoy the holiday. So, and I don't want anyone to think, oh my, her house is dirty, she gets it. No, you get one every like 5 years. When it comes to that. So, that was what I was envisioning. But otherwise, no. He likes to lay under it, which I'm really surprised he doesn't hit the ornaments and bat them around. Which is good for me that he doesn't, because the first year I tied all kinds of twist ties on them and all this stuff, and I don't have to do that, because that just added to the length of time of putting the tree up. So that was my little story there. Remember, if you have any questions, make sure you capitalize them. Damn it, my mom did that. Not in the ceiling, but she actually in the living room had a corner there, and there was like a wooden chair rail that was put in, and she used to hang. Naturally, she would have something hanging there, so there was a hook. So yeah, it was like the middle of the tree was strapped to the wall, because of course she had a cat as well. Now he did like to climb the tree. Again, it was like the squirrel. I heard this purring, and I'm like, he's in the tree. Okay, let's get him out of the tree. So yeah. So I'm glad everyone showed up and is joining me and watching me stamp. Creative, right? For those of you in the membership, we started 2 more, I promise. Just 2 more. I started our Zentangle mapping. So we started with the backgrounds, and I showed different ways that we can do backgrounds for tangle mapping. So that I was able to get that out. I have so much to do. I've got paper Ganza coming up. Yay! I've got another commitment that's coming up, and the items that are due for that are literally due like 2 days after we get back. So I have to get that done before I go. I have to get my gifts for our pod done. I think they're pretty much done, but I have to get those done. I got to get my videos done for the membership. And all of this has to be done. Yep. Wait till you hear it, and I'll tell you why. By August 3rd. And the reason why is because if I don't get my tooth extracted, that all of a sudden came about, I will not be able to fly. So, everything for me is all up in the air. So, I'm going to be just keeping an eye on that, seeing what I can get done, because I really want to get everything done. I've also got to get the stamp collection done, which the fourth design, oh, I put that away. You all were screaming at me, Des, don't put it away. You have one more to stamp. I heard you now. All right. I was wondering what that chatter was in the back of my head. Okay. Got done cleaning it and everything. All right. No biggie. No biggie. We can just put that down there. And we'll just stamp it real quick. Yeah. So, yeah, it's like a total... And then I've got to do the lap book that we're doing in the higher tier membership, because now we get to decorate. So I got to get that done. So yeah, there's like, I'm going to say in total, I'm going to say estimated 10 videos that I need to get done and edit. There's like 2 or 3 projects that I have to get done. So it's going to be interesting. We are just going to see how this goes. Yeah. Jill, good morning. I cannot wait to meet you and Johnny and Crystal and everybody else. I think Vicky. I think I'm forgetting all the names. There's 8 people. And honestly, yes, I cannot wait to meet everyone. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. All right, now let's get this on. And let's get that out of my way. So all of our stamping is done. Woo-hoo. All right, so we are going to put a twist. So these are the ones that we've stamped. All right, so this is on hot press. Those 3. These are on cold press. And these are cut 4 by 6. And I think the postcards, yep, they're 4 by 6 as well. And then the larger ornament, I put that on a 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 panel of cold press watercolor paper. But again, use what you have. I want you to use what you have. Because honestly, that is what this is all about. Even if I'm showing new products, I'd love for you to just go to the website, because that helps the website, you know, just like thumbs up and subscribing and commenting, you know, that helps YouTubers when it comes to their channel. Even if you don't have to make a purchase, even if you just go there, that helps to drive traffic and get that website up. Those are the things, though, even the technique that I'm showing in there, you can apply it to items in your stash. And that's what I want everyone to remember. Don't be like me. But I've been really good this year. I really have been good. Okay, so let's start watercoloring. I am not going to tape these down. And we're probably going to do like a little bit of mixed media. I might pull in some chalks just to get some depth, or some graphite just to get some depth in the corners. But what I want these to have is a vintage sort of feel, if that makes sense. All right, because I want to add some ephemera pieces that I have. in my stash. And I hope I wrote down the name. If not, I'll make sure it's down in the description box where these came from. So the colors are not going to be bright. They're going to be muted, which, yeah, it's in my wheelhouse. It's just something that I do. And I didn't spray my what do you call it? Watercolors. Sure, I got my water bottle. These are my Mission Gold. Thank you, Jill. I knew you were going to do that. So it's me, Terry, Barb, Ellie Mae. Yeah, it's, for some reason, Vicky's coming in my head. But I don't know. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun time. All right, so we're just going to get our colors down. So sometimes my idea of mixed media is adding watercolors, splatters, and all that fun stuff. Now I'm just using the tip of my brush. I'm not looking for perfection here. I'm just using that tip to get into those areas, letting all of the pigment that's in the brush pull out, letting that fill, and then I'm going to clean off the brush, tap off some of the water, and then I'm just going to come in and basically just scrub around that edge to take away that harsh edge so that it will go into the center. Now, there's some colors that you cannot really do this with because they're stinging. Purples, some reds. And now I'm just using water to do that. So that's how I can get a highlight. You can see you've got that highlight right in the center of that. So for my red, and to mute a color down, I just add black. I know. Don't worry about it. Nope, you're fine. It's all good. See, I'm making a, purple-ish. You can add 2 colors, whatever you want to do. And this brush is a size 8. Whenever you watercolor, you just want to make sure that whatever brush you want to use or you want to get, that it just comes, again, you just need just a round brush. You don't need anything fancy. If you find that you like it, that's when you can get into the fancy brushes. Rounds will serve you beautifully because they do have their point. And that's what you want to make sure, that it just comes to a nice point, because then you've got all of these differences. that go across. All right, we're going to add a little bit more red. I want the poke root. And this is just one way that I'm doing. These. We're going to add a little bit of black. Might be too much black. Maybe not. And you can see I'm letting, there we go. I'm letting the colors be very light. Again, I'm just putting it on one side, trying to find where they all are. Of course, I put them all over the place. I need to get one of those scrubbers at the base of my jar. Go back to a green. And you can just let them like this, where you just drop that color in and let it go. That's what you're doing by just putting the colors in. You're just letting those highlights, a natural highlight. I'm just going to swish it. And I missed one, and that's okay. All right, so for these, I think I'm going to add not that color. Let's see if we can make it a little more poppy-ish. Yeah, it works. Just going to pull that down into the moon pies. And let some white along the top. And some of your colors you can use indigo. I think I'm just going to come around the edge. Again, I'm just looking for hints of colors. It's almost like, you know, I keep coming up with these ideas and it's, I can't remember what they're called. Mix of brown, I'll put it over here. Those digitally enhanced photos. It's almost like that. At least for this one, that's what I'm going for. When you see my hand go off to the right, I'm dabbing it with, I'm going to put some, I don't know if I'm going to, let's add some more yellow. Yeah, we can go with that. just want to put a little bit in here. And that'll brighten that up just a little bit to grab just a hint right in here. And then remove that. So again, I'm leaving the mucas, these curves, alone because those are going to have the graphite into them. And same thing with the topper. I think I might actually come in with some gold going across with that. All right, so we can take that, set that one aside. Now for this one's just going to be little. I'm going all along the outside. I am not worried if I go outside the lines, but you can see that point just does it. And I'm going to come in with lots of water and just mix this around. Get that moving. So again, I want them to have a vintage feel because that's just kind of what I do. I just like the vintage feel. And we're just going to go along this side. And then we're going to let these two just come together. And again, just taking that water over it so that they can move. And if I feel I need a little bit more of the color, I'll come in and just add a little bit more to the edges and swirl it down. Again, just to create the illusion of the image. I don't know about that one yet. Okay, let's look. Oh, Vicky, thank you so much for stopping by. Let's see. I'm catching up on comments here. I know I'm missing people. I think I see, I thought I saw Linda's in here. Hello, yes, there you are. Hello, Linda. Let's see. Yes, Teresa, it's like tinting that photo, and I forget what that, you know, I know what it is. I forget. Like, when I was doing something in the membership, we were creating those pieces. I don't know. I had a bad week, so I'm just, words are just not easy for me today. So these, we're creating backgrounds for mapping. And, you know, you do this with a straw, put your puddles down, do it with a straw. And I know there used to be a machine where you would put this down, the ink would go on, and then it would spin. Could not remember what it was. Thanks to Glenn. Yes, she's like, she goes out and does my research for me. Um, spin art. That's what that's called. Spin art. And that's what the machine was called. Because you could create your own spin art. But yeah, it's all digitally and enhanced and all of that fun stuff. I'm going to set this one aside. I'm not quite sure what well, what we can do is let's choose, so let's do the reverse. That's a big puddle. Let's just add some splatters. First, I did not like those splatters. Now here, I'm not worried about if I go out on the edge or not. I want this to have a hint. So you can pick and choose your elements. That's a lot of color. That you want colorized or anything like that. So we're making it darker on that one area. You can have the waves, you know, of the color coming in. And can you tell I love this blue? Just saying. And then just adding more pigment in the center of that and seeing what it does. Because again, cotton paper will react or work differently than cellulose when it comes to how it moves. And then let's create a wash. So this is like a shadow. Because again, we're going to add to these. These are actually going to be one layer cards. Well, what I mean by that is we're not die cutting these out or anything like that. But we're giving the illusion of a highlight. Around it. And then coming in with, you know, somewhat clean water. I didn't get my second. I usually have 2 pots of water. Let me grab that. And just fading this out around it. So you're getting like that double line going on there. Again, I'm not going up to that line. I'm just scrubbing along that edge and then really working the water out. And if I still see a harsh line, I'm just coming in, swirling around the brush, seeing if I can break that. And if not, I'm not worried about it. So we got that. All right. For these, we're going to keep these one color, and I'm going to add, there's a stamp where you can put your topper, but I'm just going to add my own. Because again, we're going to come in with other elements, whether that's a colored pencil or chalk or something like that. And again, just letting it sit like that. Now this is on cold. And then this is on hot. And what I mean by that is cold press, hot press papers. And I do not know if this, the hot press, is 100% cotton. I do not know. But I do want that highlight in the center. So that's what we're going to do with these. All right, now for these, nope, don't want that one. Let's see. Oh, Holly, hi. How you doing, hon? Ave, good morning. 2, oh my goodness. Well, keep Zen tangling, Denise, hey. I am using Mission Gold. Mission Gold tubes, 2 paints, and it's a set of these are the colors that are in the set, and they're the small tubes. That's really all you need. They're like the 5mm tubes. So there's 12, 24. So that's the set that I'm using, Mission Gold. But you can use whatever. Yes, 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 Cordelia, absolutely. Stamping in watercolor or distress inks, not the oxides. I think you get a better result than what you do for the distress inks. It's a really cool effect. Very cool effect. Okay, so we did green. I want these blue. I'm just going to do this part here. I would like to change up that blue there just a little bit. Just a little bit. Kick some of that pigment out. I'm going to go around the outside of these. And then just a thin layer. Thin layer around here. Glad I'm coming down to the end because my water's getting real dirty. And then again, just following that edge. And if you think you still have a lot of pigment, just dab it off your paper towel. This is a pretty strong color that's going on there. So I'm dabbing off a lot. Now you can also lift too, if you want. Got that highlight there. Alright, I'm running out of room. That one there. Let's keep that one there. Let's move that. Let's get that out of my way. We can move those. We can just move it all. Alright, and we're going to do the same thing on this one. And again, you'll see the difference on how these here mold around, or the watercolors keep going. And of course this brush here is one of those black velvet silvers. Alright, so now that's that too. I gravitate to the colors that I do. So like Flux, I think is a leaf. That's green. The wing, I think of blue. Fairies, for some reason. And you can do purple too, or pinks, and do all of that. And then this, to me, looks like a candy cane. So, yep, you guessed it, red. But let's add don't want it too vibrant. Let's add a little bit of bright pink. Yeah, that's too bright. But I wanted to go there because I'm going to add a splash. Too much of a splash. Black. With red. So that gives me a deep, at least in my mind, a deep burgundy. Or we're going to see if it's a deep burgundy. It is. So again, blacks always just tone it all down. It mutes it. It doesn't keep the vibrancy of the color. And I'll show you that with Opera Rose. See, I may have that line there, but that's okay. Not worried about it. Again, just coming in with clean water and swirling around. And you can see that water's going to push it out to the edge. So then I just redefine the edge. And I'm just going to drop a little more in this space here in the design. All right, so there's our bases, and we'll see how they dry. So I do like a white in my watercolor palette. Some people say, oh, no, I do. I also like the black. So this is what I'm just going to take Opera Rose, or Mission Gold calls it Opera. It's a fugitive color. So very bright. Very, very bright, almost neon. Very much neon. Now, when you add water to it, of course, she will get lighter. Because the more water we add, the lighter our watercolor will be. Just know and I am not a watercolor artist, this is just how I work with them. And what I do, I just want to throw that out there, please. Good morning, Anthony. I'm doing okay, Ave. These last few weeks have just been pretty. You were very welcome, Denise. Anytime. What made that color act all hydrophobic all of a sudden? Which color, Kalinda? Which one are we talking about? This one? The opera? Linda, opera is just a really, it's a really good color. And why I like it is because you can mix it. Let me get my other mixing well here in. You can mix it with a lot of colors, and that's what I usually do. I very rarely take that Opera Rose. We're going to skew you all in. So this color there is Rose Madder. All right. Looks like it's a deep red. It's a cool red. And so is Opera Rose. So if I take a little bit of the Opera Rose and mix that in, it makes that Rose Madder a little brighter. So if I take, we see the Opera Rose there. Here's the Rose Madder. And then again, if we add water to it, she'll just travel around. I'm just going to take off some of the water so that it doesn't go all over the place. But if I take these two and mix them equal parts, you get this in-between shade. This is still dark on its own, but when you add just an equal part of Opera Rose, or however much you want to, it gives it a vibrancy that's like a deep pink. So again, it's just that a different shade. See why I keep all my scraps? You can take a permanent red, which is warm. And then again, we can take our Opera Rose. So that's our spectrum that we're looking at here. So if I take the permanent red and then some of the Opera Rose and mix that together, we get this beautiful kind of a pinkish coral that comes in. What's also great, what I like to do with some of the watercolors is when I mix, I don't mix completely. I'm grabbing a bigger sheet. I'm going to stick with cold press. So this is our intermission period while the pieces dry. How's that? Yeah, I like that. Ah, because with the water and with these pans here, they're not fully seasoned. So once water hits it, yeah, it'll make the puddle separate because that water is moving the pigment, Kalinda. Yeah, it's not anything special. It's just the water that's doing that because again, it's a plastic palette, and if you don't season them, yeah, they don't puddle right. And when you go back in, they'll move. So nothing special. All right, but you get these now that you dry. You can see these beautiful shades that you can create, especially coral. I love creating corals. But what's really cool is if you take your brush and just put a little bit of the opera rose on, and then I'll go into this, and when we do a stroke, you can get that variation. You can see that opera rose is just going in there. So there's times where, yeah, I don't fully mix my colors, and I'll keep that over there. And then when I go in, I'm just grabbing part of it. And it may mix or it may not, because you can do that. Now you'll have a stronger effect if you use a flat brush or an angle brush. And again, I'm not saying y'all need to buy one of these. So you can load up on your dark color on one side, and then we'll stick with the opera rose on the other. And when we do the stroke, you get that variation as you make a puddle, or a petal. All right, and it'll continue to blend. Now you can come back over that with water and have it blend even more. Okay, and you can get that effect with a round. It's not going to be as prominent with when it comes to either an angle or of a flat. So again, just some of the things that I like to do in my watercolors. I'm sure somebody's going to watch this and say, you're wrong. No, it's just how I work with them. It's just how I work. But back to the white and the black and opera. So any palette that I have, I've got to have a white, I've got to have opera, and I got to have a black. So even if I take the opera rose, which is just so vibrant, it's a beautiful color. And then here's the black. And you know, it's black. It's ivory black. Now, when I mix these, I always start with the main color that I want to mute down. So black will mute your color down. And you just want to touch. So I just go, can you even see that? No. So I literally just one swipe, and I will mix that in. And you can see it changed what that color is. Just one quick swipe. You can definitely add more. So here we have the opera rose. Here we have the black. And then here we get this muted version of the opera rose. Okay, it just mutes them down. It desaturates the main color that you're doing. That's what black is going to do. It desaturates that color. So now it's not as vibrant. And it does it with all colors. So if I take, I have no idea what this one is. I think it's peacock blue. So here's peacock blue. And then again, here's our black. So if I take that peacock blue and just a swipe of that black, it desaturates it. And they're beautiful shades. I like the desaturated colors, but there's times where I do like the vibrant colors as well. So that's what black does. Black just desaturates any color that you create, even ones that you mix up and all of that. But just adding a little bit of black, you get a desaturated shade of that. Oh, Holly, I appreciate that. Now, white, I like white too. I did, and some, no, it's like taboo. And I get it, because really what white's going to do is watercolors, again, my opinion, watercolors, in my opinion, are, for the most part, translucent. So there's just a hint of color in there because my water's not clean, but that's okay. So we've got that puddle going on there. So let's go back. Let's go to the purple, because purple is dominant. It's a beautiful dominant color. This is permanent violet. Now, if I add white to this, and just because that looks blue, it's going to go white. Let me come down. So whenever I add white, I don't do just a swipe. I get my brush all loaded with it. And if I go into that color, I can mix it right on the paper. Look what it just did. It turned it into a pastel. Now, you can see though, it loses its transparency. So that's just something that you want to make sure that you're aware of. It loses its transparency. Even though this purple is very dominant in its shade, okay, it's transparent. When you add your white to this, it doesn't continue be transparent. But I do like the effect that white can sometimes provide. And purple, very, very dominant. Purple's also one of those colors, if I add it to something, it's a swipe. It's like the black. And then if I come in with the white and mix that, it just changes its look to it. It gives it another shade. It gives it another value. Now, if you want this lighter, just keep adding water to that. And then it can get transparent and not be so vibrant. Does that make sense? Oh, have a good one, Holly. Thank you so much for stopping by. All right, so that's, again, I also like, the other color that I like to have in my palette, I just happen to not have it in this one, is titanium buff, which is like a tan, a cream color. All right, so just a little bit about watercolors and the fun that we can have with them. Again, not a watercolorist. I don't Will I paint a landscape? Yeah, but I mean, I am not, yeah, I'm just not that. I play, but I do love my watercolors and see what we can do with them. So I hope that helped. You know, just little fun facts. All right, I am going to move the watercolors out of my way because we're done with them. And we're going to move these as well. I do keep these, you know, fun little things. And we're going to set these aside to dry. And I'm going to move the water so I don't spill it across the table. Because I will. All right. Here are, I need a paper, I need a rag. I need a rag. There we go. So these are our panels. And you can see the difference in how they dry. Again, these are the cold with the design. They are hot press. Let me zoom you out just a little bit more. There we go. So only the ones that have this design are hot press. The rest of them are cold press. You can see the difference in what we did. Different techniques, nothing crazy, just got colored down onto the paper. So now I'm just grabbing colored pencils and my chalk pastels. And I want to grab my pencil. And I need my blending. Blend! And one more thing. All right. You all right there, Max? Okay. Max was just having issues. Okay. So again, you can add anything we want. I do gravitate to the chalks. I just like the way that they look. And how they flow. All right, so let's I'm going to add a darker green, and again, we do not need to be specific when it comes to how we lay the colors down. What does this one look like? Just want to get it down now. Since it's cold press, and this is really textured, you know, it's going to pull a lot. off the piece. But again, just scratch it down. And these are all dry now. And if they're not, we're going to find out. And we're just going to blend. And you can see the different colors that we're using are just going to go throughout the area, and they'll highlight whatever image you chose when it comes to the chalk. So again, you can just have that filter through. All right, and we're going to let that one go like that. This one, I think I'm going to add colored pencil. Now, when adding a colored pencil, you want to go light. And again, we're just going to swirl and get light, swirl and get light, swirl and get light. Because we're not adding anything on top of it. This is an extremely light hand that you're going to add your shading to. And I'm just going to focus this on the bottom. Because you're hardly actually going to see this. And again, these are just other ways that you can add color to your image that you stamped. You know, it doesn't always have to be alcohol inks or watercolors alone or anything like that. And then here's where I'm going to add some graphite. I just want to hint on this one. Nothing carried away. Now, this blending, the tortillon or blending stump, whatever it is you're using, will move the pencil just a little bit though. So between the graphite and the colored pencil, we're getting that different shade that's coming out. It's going to be very subtle, but that color still continues through. But you want to go with a light hand to accent all of those. All right, so on the cold press, we're going to do, I want to do the chalks and the different colors, where on the hot press, we're going to add in the graphite and colored pencils. All right, now for this one, I don't want that dark. Well, maybe I do. Let's keep that one out. Let's keep that one out. Whoops. So I'm going to take the whole wing, and I'm going to start here. And then I'm going to go here. And I'm pulling away just a little bit where I put the first color. And then we're going to add the third color. And I use the same blending stump. I just scratch it off to clean it. And then we're going to come straight out with the blend. Circles straight out on each petal. And then back and forth down the bottom. So then you can get that blend that goes across as well. This one here, I'm just going to choose one of these colors, and I think I'm going to go with the lavender. And I'm going to start with the graphite at the base. And I'm going to go heavy-handed. And then I'm going to come in with the lavender just above that. Clean off some of that blue. And then we're going to do the same thing. We'll take that and just go straight up. So that graphite's going to mix in with the chalk. So now we have two different looks on that one. Alright, so your graphite you can mix with your chalks, your pencils, you know, whatever it is you want it to be mixed with. And it creates a beautiful effect. I like the graphite mixed with the chalks. I think for this one, I'm going to come in with a color pencil. This is Black Cherry, and I am just going to go around this edge. Now there's a lot of tooth on this watercolor paper, so you're going to see the texture. And what I'm going to use to really, excuse me, to blend this out is a colorless blender pencil. This is also by Prismacolor. This is the same pencil that the Prismacolors are, except there's no pigment in it. It's literally colorless. And I'm just going to swirl over that. If you like to use colored pencils and you have Gamsol or anything like that, you can certainly use it if you want. I just don't use Gamsol. If I do use any solvents, it is a solvent called Zest It. It's less harsh, at least in my opinion. All right, in my opinion. The whole concept of odorless mineral spirits it just freaks me out. It really does just freak me out. All right, so we've got a great texture that's going on at the base on that one. And that, whoops, wrong container. And then, what am I doing? Water chalk. But I want a deep chalk. Actually, I want to go with a brown. No, I'm going to go with my, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Caput Mortem. It's a Faber-Castell pit pencil that's chalk. And this one I'm going to do the reverse. So this one I'm going to put down first. So it's like a brown, plummy color. These are technical terms. Technical terms. And then I'll come in with the graphite up on top. And then we're just gonna swirl. You know, now I got this deep line coming in. You can also go lightly around this edge. And that can add even more roundness. When you stay to the outside, you're adding roundness to make it look round, right? All right, so now we have those. All right, now let's look at these two. I did 3. There we go. So with this one, the only thing that I want to do is add graphite to the mucas. All right. I need a piece of scrap. Where did I put my scrap paper? There it is. All right, so that's the only spot where I want to add color on that one. For this one, going to add just color around the outside. And this one's just going to be tougher to accent because of the cold press. Cold press, as you guys know, is very textured. And I'm just going to do half of it. But you've really got to put pressure down. So you do chew up if you're using a tortilla, because that friction, it really continues. And you can see how the color changes based on where it's sitting within the piece. I'm going to take a brown on this side. So I'm just highlighting the inner portion here. And again, letting them mold together. So we just have that. I'm not worried about any of these pieces yet. This one, I'm not too sure where I want to go. Well, let's find out. I'm going to add the brown to the center. I'm going to do the reverse. Also, really choose down the jaw. I'm going to come around. This piece as well. Helps if I do them all, right? So if you like watercolors, but you're like, I can't get these blends, I can't mix these colors to get the light and the dark, you can just put a light wash down, all right, and then, add a colored pencil or a chalk to it, so that it can have that depth of color. And then I just added color to that. So that's all I'm going to do with that one. So we have that and that and that. All right, now, let me get these away. I'm going to use my white. All right. We're going to use that later. And I get asked a lot, what are my favorite, or what are my go-to colored pencils? It is Prismacolor. Shay, hello! You snuck in there. Oh, what do we make for breakfast? Don't tell me I'm hungry. Don't tell me. Now, one of the things that I'll show you too, so I think this is a piece of, nope, let's look at that. So Cordelia had brought up the tip about using distress ink. And yes, she is spot on when it comes to that. Now, I do say that it's best to do this with distress inks. I'm just going to use, it's on a block. This is on a block. Well, it's on a pad. You know what, we'll do that. And we'll stick that there. We'll pick that up. Again, you want to use an ink that likes watercolor. VersaFine, that is my go-to. And this too was one of the first stamps. Did that one pretty well. Yay me. Now, what made this stamp look or go yellow is I used Archive. And it's okay. Let go. Having our stamps get stained means we love them. That's how I look at it. It took me a while to get to that point, though. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Yep, I was one of those people. I can't have this. No, I got over it. It took a long time, though. Okay. Oh, for goodness sakes. All right, so we have another one to do. So what I wanted to show you. That's all right. More cards, the better, right? Yep. Let's grab a distress ink this time, shall we? Yes. Yes. Crystal, I'm the same way. When it comes to flux, no matter what piece I'm tangling, flux will be in there somewhere. Huge. Yeah, flux is one of my favorites. Okay, so let's try this again. Bless my heart. Okay. Here we go. Pick that up. We're going to use Uncharted Mariner. Yes. And we're going to stamp it. We are on watercolor paper. I'm going to stamp it one more time. Now for this, yes, you do want a brush with a point. Oh, nice. You don't have to move too quickly, because the beauty of distress products in general is that they are water reactive. Now, again, can you do this with oxides? Yes. I just like the effect that you get better with a distress ink. I'm going to get clean water. And you just need a little bit because we're only dealing with one color. Sorry for that sound. All right. And I am going to go back to my number 8. Now, I will say, when it comes to, when I get a paper towel to blot, you can get a rag, you can use whatever. I do like to use the paper towels Viva because they do not shed. But that's just me. People always ask me, what are they? Alright, so we're going to tap off some of the water, push it off onto the side, and just take the point of your brush and around the edge, and you can see. Let's zoom you in. How you doing? And you can see that, yep, she is just reacting. And as you keep going along, more and more ink will come out. Now, this is if you want to be precise. You don't have to. But always keep the point going against that line. So you always want your piece. For me, my piece is always up here, and the piece is always turning so that the point is going away from me. And every once in a while, you do want to get your brush back into the water and just dab off. And you can see you can do this quick, or you can go slow. The more area that's stamped, the more ink, of course, you'll have. And then you can just keep on coming out and smooth out any of those harsh lines if you don't want the harsh lines. Again, you're just adding water to them at this point. Just to spread that out. All right, so that gave you the halo type effect. You can also go into the centerpiece and just push. Just push out that color. So get that started. And again, I'm still just using the point of this brush. And then I'll come in. And then just very scribbly, just push that out. But still staying within the shape of what we've just stamped. So you still have the lines, you still have that. Now you can also then come back in once it's dry and come in with your graphite and just go right over that. So yeah, it creates a beautiful effect. Now you can also stamp the image and spritz it. So even though I'm wondering if I kept it, I don't think I did, but you know, why not? I know you're all like, okay, that's good. Just stop tearing that off. I'm sorry. So if we keep our stamp in its place, ah, softly she lives. And if we stamp, I like this effect too, because it's unexpected, absolutely unexpected. We're gonna stamp right on top of the VersaFine, and we're gonna stamp it twice. Because, wow, I actually did a pretty decent job lining that up. See, miracles can happen. Clean that off. We're going to move this. Once again, I promise, this is the last time I'm stamping because I wish this piece was different. Alright, we got that. Here we go. You could also take that and get some paper towel. I don't feel like getting out my splatter box. Grab a spray bottle, make sure it's water. And let it drip. Let it move. And that will give you a haze that comes off the piece. And I hope everyone saw that when I did that. Alright, so it will just move. Now, you can also now take your brush if you want and move it along. But if you just did the Distress ink, then, sorry for that zooming, then it would be better. It's because I have the VersaFine underneath it. But it gives a look, so if you want somebody to think that their eyes are going, this is it. But you can add that and then come in with your brush and move it around just a little bit more. So that you can do too. And that's a lot of fun when you stamp all these images and then just spritz them with water. Because they'll just go to town. So yeah, Distress inks, I usually go to this. But yeah, two different ways that you can do that. And now that this is dry, because, you know, we have a card. We need to make the card now. Now, I'm going to come in with the heavier graphite. This is the 555. So this is like an 8B in graphite pencils. And then we'll just blend that out. Remember, we don't need the perfect blend. We don't worry about light source. I don't ever worry about light source. Even when I colored pencils, I don't worry about light source. I know. But I just don't. I just do not. And look, that's because I'm not going for realism. That's a whole different art. And then we have that. But we're still going to use this one. Okay. So, our next step. What time is it? Okay, it's going to be a long one. So, what I want to do on these. Gonna get a craft knife. I know. Craft knife. And I'm going. Yeah. I'm going to slice carefully. There we go. Okay. So how, you might ask, am I going to make these vintage? Well, of course, vintage photo is going to come in to play. I'm just going to put a scratch, literally, a light scratch. I'm hardly letting my brush touch the paper of this gold. That's a little more than I wanted. That's right. To write one of the videos that I was filming, with all the videos that I gotta get done before the date, my glue bottle literally exploded. It was awesome. Yep, boom, just went right across that way. So, there was that. All right. Which one? Not that one. That one. So let's look. I'm going to look at some of the ephemera I've got. And they're too small. I do love these, but boy, they're big. And again, I can't remember the designer's name. I will make sure that I will mark it down in the description after the live is over. So what I want to do, I'm going to cut the edges off, just like that. I'm just going to get a regular hole punch, punch out the corners. Because to me this is quicker than fussy cutting around it. And I will get my mini scallop scissors, because these playful scissors may be old, but they're awesome and they save time. I would still be fussy cutting this an hour later. I'm going to come in with some vintage. I just thought I'd throw all that out there. And inking around these just removes all of the white in it. All right, now I'm going to come around . All right, now carefully, I'm going to poke that down. Put that strip there. Go around those edges. And then do the same thing up here. And then this is going to sit in Hida, as long as I can get it in there. So we just need to come down a little bit more. Bum, bum, bum. That is what I wanted to do. You can still see your image, but why not cut into it to create what this looks like? Now, to glue it in, I'm going to take it to the reverse. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that this bottle doesn't explode. And I'm just going to lift up and glue down. And same thing over here. I'm going to lift up and glue down. Now, you can add another one if you wanted to. And I do like some of these, so some of these are going to come into this. But I just thought this is like the winter ball ones. And again, you can do this in different areas. All right, so I like the way that looks going across there. If you're saying, oh no, just cannot have that going across, then you can simply, you can cut along here. And if we look, let's say Christmas ball. I mean, you can. I mean, you'd have to cover up the poinsettia. I don't know if anyone wants to do that. But what you can do as well, if you like the poinsettia, okay, just be careful doing this. I do not recommend you using a pair of scissors to do this. I think the scissors may chop up the paper. And again, it's a way to make your card interactive when it comes to that. Get it, Christmas ball. To make it interactive as well, because you have that piece there. And I get it, you are covering up part of what you stamped, but again, it's just the illusion. It's another way to make that card. Now, while that's there, I'm going to take this piece that's on my table, and because it's the forefront, and we can have that sitting there. And I do want a pop. I need a pop. That's not a pop, but this is a pop. Again, it's a way to dress up your stamp. Very much so. I get it that I'm covering it up, but I like the illusion of what this is doing. So again, if you have those other big stamps and you're like, you know, I really liked this at the time, don't know what's going on here now with this, here's something that you can do with it. Now I'm just going to put a shoot of glue there just to hold that in. I like the fact that this lifts up. All right, so that's that one. And this one I'm not too sure about. I mean, I could have it coming in this way. I don't know. This one's going to get set aside real quick. These here, we're going to do the same thing to a point. I'm going to focus on the 3 for right now with this design around the edge. Because I think when I get to the other ones, you're going to be like, no! I'm going to grab, I'm not going to do anything that's going to hurt. Hole punch, let's take a quarter. Oh yeah, because I need something to drink. I have to be honest. Close that. One, I'm a klutz. That's why I said, oh my God, close that. And 2, if I'm fussy cutting, then I'm sitting in front of a TV at night on my couch. I do not want to spend hours sitting there fussy cutting, and I am not in the mood to do yoga with my hands to do that. It annoys me that the paper bends. And you're all like, wow, okay. She's a little tense. It's just, it's what it is. And that's why I look for shortcuts. Yes. Yes, I do. Yep. All right. Now, I want to put a string on them. Hang on. Oh, well, now that's too funny. Okay. Just put that there. Silly, silly me. All right, now let's see if this will work. Aha! Thank God I did it that way. When we shake these pens, you want to make sure you keep a finger on the top and shake it that way. Why do you ask? Because this cap goes flying off if you don't. Just saying. All right, so I'm going to do some squiggles. With the gold pen. And then all I'm going to do to these, so it's almost, it's a vintage feel, but I think for the first time, it's almost a clean and simple feel to it. If that makes sense. So I'm just going to add a small tag to each. But because the ephemera looks the way that it looks, it's going to have that vintage feel. Now, and I also don't worry about if the white is showing from after I use the hole punch because it's going to get covered up with the vintage photo. And again, even though these are Christmas ornaments, that doesn't mean that you can't make them into something else, if that makes sense. I love these scissors. I still I still use mine to this day. That's why I kind of hope they never break, because they are tough to find now. Very tough to find. And you can make anything look like that. So just choose your width. You can tear the sides. They don't have to have the scallop, and then just get your hole punch. So you can make your own tickets out of pattern paper, and you can even use that. That one's going to say Holly Jolly, and this one's going to have peace. And you can put them in different spots. You know, you can have that hanging out there. But for these, I do want them to come down this way. And we're going to pop them up. Just a little bit of pop. And our last one. And when I do cards like this, I'm not adding a sentiment. Because these pretty much are. They do have a sentiment. Even these cards here, to me, they're sentiments. So I don't add anymore. So those are those three. All right. Again, just little tiny vintage touches. Just small ones. Okay, now, why do I only have one of these? I should have two other ones. We'll throw this one in here too. But where this Are you kidding me? Where did found them? Okay. So there was some paper that I found in my stash. We'll hold that one off. We're going to do something different with that one. Then I found And I absolutely love this paper. Yes. And we hoard it, and it's precious. But you know what? When we hoard, because the paper is so precious, no one else gets to see it except your shelf. And it's getting no light. So we're going to use that. Now, the good thing is I only have to use my scraps. This is that tonic textured paper. Oh, I love this stuff. I really, really do. Always have. Just always, always have. The papers they came out with were absolutely amazing. Just absolutely amazing. I mean, look at, oh, um, it's a little plain, but I have scraps here. So, or pieces that were in the kits. I forget what kit I used to get. Do I prefer the hot or the cold press? Um, you know, that's a tough question to answer because obviously I haven't answered it yet. You know what? It all depends. Um, I love cold press for its texture. Um, you know, I do tend to lean towards, oh yeah. Um, I lean towards cold press because of the texture. It's more versatile for me. I also, I love 100% cotton. Absolutely. But, and I did say but, and I do not like to say but, um, I like the cellulose paper. I like that one even better. Because of the way that it creates blooms and everything else. And I think I'm going to have to go with that red. I can't find a red for that one. But I love these papers. Loved. Love, 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 love. Okay. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go up and we're going to cut around. We're going to take our time. I'm going to stop. Grabbing a pen. We're going to real quick put our little tiny hangers on. Now you can also use real string if you wanted to. You know, punch a hole. Do that. Okay, it's windy outside. And we're going to go wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then this is going to sit on top of this. Now, I do have to have it be the whole length underneath the card so that this sits even. Okay, it's got to sit evenly. All right, so that is going to sit that way. And I believe and again, I also, when it comes to specialty papers, I do not, I think this is 6, right? Yes. Just gonna cut it a little bit bigger. When you cut these, you have to cut them real quick. And I'm thinking this is 4. Oh, okay. Maybe a little bigger. If you go slow cutting these, it's like it's all fiber. So you've got to make sure that you go a little quicker than normal. So this is going to sit right here. And I am going to use my double-sided tape on this. Alright, now we're going to put this down. I don't even know. How many cards are we up to? Yeah, Kalinda. He kind of did. It's... I think each paper serves a purpose for me. But I think the way I can answer that is I gravitate to cold press when I'm watercoloring. Now, hot press, I love the effect of watercolors on hot press as well. I'll pull out the hot press to tangle on. So does that, and then that's what we're doing there. So see, now we got this shimmery part. So you can take an image, and again, you cut around it to keep half of it there, and then you can use a piece of pattern paper or textured paper or something like that on this side. All right? And that's what we're going to do with these. But we're going to do it in different areas. So like for this one, and again, I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to start cutting. And my fussy cutting is not going to be exact because when my hands start getting tangled up in the paper and my scissors can't move the way they should, or the paper, I can't get it to move the way it should, then I cut the bulk of it away. And again, notice I move my paper when I fussy cut. I don't move the scissors. Up here. So we've got that way that we're going to cut that one. And again, we need this 4 by 6. I love the fact I have scraps. I don't even know. Please, nobody say this in the comments. I wonder if they still make this stuff. I don't want to know. But I loved all these papers. Absolutely loved them. Found it. Me? No. No, I didn't say spark violence. Did I say spark violence? No. I did. I don't think I did. Although, you know, there's times where there's a time and a place for that. Make sure I get into that corner. So we'll overlap just a little bit. And again, this is my U-line double-sided film tape. I will be posting a haul video tomorrow from Scrappy Tales. You know, I don't know how she does it with her designs, but oh my god, they are awesome. All right, and then now we're going to put this up here. Funny. And then for this one, yeah, I am not a fan of fussy cutting. I'm just not. But I do it. I do it. All right, let's see how I did. I line this up here. Not too bad. All right. And I want that to go like that. So 4, and that's already at 6. Yep. Alrighty, we are about to get these onto card bases. Oh my goodness. Well, that's not bad, 2.5 hours. All right. Oh, there was one more. Use your thumbs to guide. Do little tears. And for this, okay, nobody look because I don't know. I'm doing that with my scissors. Okay, we're good. I'm a klutz. Remember that. I am a klutz. Now, I know I have... So this is a bloom, so it's actually called the Tangle Bloom. We can now make it look like an icicle. All the base, and again, just based off of the colors that you choose, you can change the look of your piece. Just always keep that in mind. Just change the color. And what you think those colors are for, you know, if it's, you know, Halloween, Christmas, Memorial, summer, autumn, you know, whatever it is, whatever that holiday is, you can choose what you want those colors to be. And it can be anything. It can be a floral. It can be, you know, critters with accents on them. You know, again, you can make that choice. But you can change completely the look of a stamp just by changing the color. Absolutely. All right, let's get our card bases together. What do you think? Just putting all of my scraps on that side. and getting things out of my way that I will spill. And you can add, I mean, for the other ones, I don't want to, I like that. See, I could sit here forever. I like that one too. There we go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just because you put vintage photo down does not mean that you cannot go over with another color to change the hue of vintage photo, because now it's got that. All right, let's cut our bases. Let's see, what do I got here? 5x7, 5x7. These are all 4x6. They are going to get mounted onto black bases, and then they're going to be put on cream card bases. I cut all the bases wrong. But you know what? We're going to keep going with it because I will set them differently. While I have that out, and I apologize if I'm shaking my camera badly. All right. So yeah, so I'm gonna post back to what I was saying. I'm gonna post the haul from Scrappy Tales. You'll love this kit. And then we'll have a few videos. But to remind everyone, I will not be live next Sunday. I will be with my sister. I know, Cordelia. I know. I tell her. We're going to do one of our retreat weekends. And I know we are going to be going to Hobby Lobby. So that should be good and dangerous for me. Although I do need to go to Hobby Lobby. I'm hoping, believe it or not, there is, for my showcase, I've got to get some pattern paper, different designs. So I'm hoping, and I don't know, I would think they are, that they would have a selection of Christmas paper out now. I mean, some stores are posting Halloween. Already. So I'm thinking that I should be able to. Well, I know, Cordelia. But I'll be thinking of you all. I mean, just, it's just, it's just once, and then there will be a Sunday in August that I won't go live. That's the 16th, because I'll be coming back on a plane from Paper Ganza. Yeah, these are messed up, but we are going to make them work. Because, one, I am not recutting the paper. So what I'm going to do is give it a shadow look. Because we can. We have that room to do that. So it's going to have this shadow look coming off of it. And I think that looks pretty cool. Mm-mm-mm. All right. Now we keep going. And you can do that with the black because we stamped in black. All right, we're going to put this down first, and then we'll fix that problem. There we go. Fixed itself. And again, by doing this, one, it saves you from recutting, and two, it just gives a different look to your panel. And we're going to do the same thing with the other ones as well. Although I think I'm going to recut the cardstock. Yeah, because they have that border, I am going to recut the black. So let's just continue. Now, since these were really warped, I am going to go back to my double-sided tape, and these won't go to waste. No, I still have die cutting to do for the show. My die cutting machines are like, They're giving me, I think, the evil eye. But I'm really ahead of the schedule when it comes. Everything is die cut except 2 more items. So that is exciting, at least for me. Very exciting. So now what else is upcoming? I'm not sure. Basically, I've got to do a lot. I'll be doing a lot of filming. Because again, I got to get everything done by the 3rd. And I'm saying the 3rd because I don't know how this is going to go for me. I personally do not do well at all at the dentist office. I do not. And mainly for their safety, they need to figure something out for me. I'm just saying. Yeah, I just don't. I don't do well. I'm better off in a storm or something like that than I do at the dentist office. It is just not a good time for me. So, got to get that done. Because then I am taking off on the 11th to get to Paper Ganza. All right, so they are 4 by 6. So that means I need to cut these. I'm going to do 4 1/4. I'm going to do 4 1/2. By 6 1/2. These I don't have to have the heavy duty glue. There wasn't that much water being put on them. Wow. I told you guys, it's been a month so far. I really do like these postcards too. They're a nice weight. I don't know. So I'm just taking this on its side, on an angle, and slowly going down the edge. Just give the hint of the gold. I think it's fun when we can find new ways to use our supplies. And you want to hold the good side up, because if this slips, it's going to go down. And now we'll put these on. Now you can add more layers of mats if you want. Totally up to you. And our final one. We recently, Kalinda, just got, okay, so I shouldn't say recently. I recently just found out that we had a Hobby Lobby. It's about 20 minutes away from us, which, yeah, that's nothing. Oh, Crystal, please. You're silly. But yes, we will be sitting next to each other. You know, I don't think they'll mind if we switch our seats. So, you know, and if they do, I can say, you know what, I'm gonna start talking louder and louder and make a scene. So, I'll do it. All right. So, in just because I actually started a little bit later than normal, so in 3 hours, we were able, or we made lots of cards, which I think is awesome. Yeah, I'm putting stuff away first because I can't find anything right now. Hold on. Let me get rid of this. Not that. That's a scrap we keep. Um, what I wanted to share, well, one, it's still watercolor month, so yay. Love watercolors. It's still, you know, the Christmas in July that a lot of people do. So I just wanted to continue that for the month of July. I love making Christmas cards very much. Um, if that's all I did, then I believe, honestly, that I would do nothing but Christmas cards on my channel. I love them that much. And it's evident, you know, again, as we continue to create, as we continue to develop, what our style is, because we all have a style. All right, we all have our own way of creating. And again, we know that from, in best example, from Craft Roulette. You know, you're given 4 parameters, and you get to interpret those 4 parameters. No 2 cards are going to be alike. Okay? But as we continue to grow in what we learn, and how we can play with our supplies and just have fun with them, we develop our own style. For me, it's 4 things. Tangles, of course. Vintage, Christmas, florals. That's what I gravitate to. That's what I like to create with and to be inspired by. Sometimes when we look at that, sometimes, you know, people see other videos or other beautiful creations and say, okay, well, I've got to make it that way. No. You can still love the stamp, love the die, love the product that that wonderful creator is putting together, but you can put your own spin on it. So remember that. It's also a way to take your stash and stretch it. Just stretch it right out. We don't have to just stamp and do the same thing. We can stamp, we can add watercolors, we can add colored pencils, we can add chalks, we could have added alcohol markers. I added a vintage ticket to these. All right, added our own string. We could have added a background. But again, clean and simple for me does involve vintage photo. And some people think that when we add the vintage photo, it's not clean and simple anymore. Well, okay. It's a matter of opinion. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a right to that opinion. Notice what I just said there. Okay, we won't go any further with that. And that's all we did with this. We have a little bit of shimmer. We have a little bit of vintage. And it's clean and simple. It's almost elegant in its simplicity. Here, we just added this one in, but we've taken a bloom styled stamp and turned it almost into icicles. Just from the color. Just from the color that we used. And you can do that too. If I stamped this with Villainous Potion, which is a deep purple, and put a lime green in the back, there's Halloween. Just because it's a floral doesn't mean it has to be a floral for the fall. It can be a floral for anything. So step outside of that to say, okay, wait a minute, let me change the colors here and let's see what I get. For these, we added a texture background. We added chalks and we mixed the graphite in. We have watercolor here. So again, we added those difference. These papers, love. Made a boo-boo cutting for the mat. You know what? We just set it off with an angle. And now it looks like it's coming off of the page. And we just created different cuts so that we can see that beautiful texture paper. Can do the same thing with a jelly print, with a piece of pattern paper, with anything that you have, a watercolor background. Anything you have that has this, a masterboard can do this as well. So it doesn't have to be this textured paper. I just found it and fell in love with it all over again. For those larger stamps, find a spot to stick something. That's the best way I can put it. Here, we cut into it here, we cut into it here, and we put in a vintage ticket right there. And again, we can still see the image of the large stamp, but we've added a touch of vintage to it. Here, yes, I covered up the poinsettia because I wanted to put that. Okay, it's all right. We can do that. And this looks like it's just tucked in there like a pocket. But we still have the image coming out, and we have a little bit of gold just shimmering through. So a little vintage twist, clean and simple in a way, but using mixed media on Christmas stamps. Why not? Oh, no, they won't, Crystal. No. Mm-mm. Nope. No, they won't. So, again, look at that. Look at your stamps in a different way. Get out of the thing. And I used, so, and one of the reasons why I used mine is, one, because they're Christmas and they're Christmas ornaments. But two, when I do these, I want to go to the Zentangle method. And I want to add graphite. And I just want to add chalks. This helps me to get out of the box when it comes to this. I am very much a tangled traditionalist when it comes to that. So again, it helps with that. All right. So yeah, we got 9 cards done. I think that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. More for my stash. Love it. Love it. So yeah. So again, you'll see that video haul coming out soon. You're also going to, so the members are going, I already put out the backgrounds. We'll be getting the tangles done shortly on the mapping. We'll get that done. I'm going to be continuing in the membership with the lap book. There's another video that's going to come out as well with that. What I may ask is when it comes to August, you know, August may be a little bit flippy floppy when it comes to the videos coming out. So just may need to add or just ask for some grace when it comes to that, but we'll just merge and mold things together because I do not believe I'll be able, I'm trying, it's on the list, to get the videos for August done before August 3rd as well. Now, if everything does go well on August 3rd, I may have some time, and I'm hoping I do. So fingers crossed that everything goes well, and I'll be able to just move on. So yeah, so I just may need to ask for a little bit of grace, and I'll post that if I see that's going to be happening, and how things will come out at a different time. All right, I think that's all the updates I have. If you guys have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. Please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here for any questions that you may have, or any thoughts that you may have. But again, I do appreciate each and every one of you being here. Again, I hope you enjoyed this and now know, okay, this is why I was going in the direction that I was. But I'm truly grateful and appreciate each and every one of you. Happy thoughts always go out to all of you as well, no matter what's going on. Continue to stay safe and healthy. But most of all, much love, guys. Take care, and I will see you in 2 weeks. 2 Sundays. All right? Take care. Love to you all. Bye.